Welcome to The Explainer. If you've been dreaming of packing up your laptop and moving to the sunny shores of the Iberian Peninsula, well, you might want to double-check your budget, because the cheap and easy days of European Nomad visas, they are officially over. As we look ahead to 2026, sweeping minimum wage hikes and massive tax overhauls in both Portugal and Spain are completely rewriting the playbook.
Today, we are breaking it all down. Our roadmap covers the 2026 visa landscape, income and savings hurdles, the family math, progressive versus flat taxes, the long game of citizenship, and finally, the verdict. Expect a really grounded, practical, head-to-head comparison to help you make the smartest relocation decision.
Let's start with Section 1, the 2026 visa landscape, shifting rules for remote workers.
Moving right into Section 2, income and savings hurdles, the new financial barriers to entry.
Rising minimum wages have fundamentally altered the baseline math for residency. And honestly, the single most surprising twist is this number right here. 3,680 euros. That is Portugal's shocking new baseline monthly income requirement. Because the D8 visa requires an active income of exactly 4 times their newly raised minimum wage, you're now looking at nearly 4,000 euros a month just to get your foot in the door.
The immediate financial contrast between the two countries is pretty striking. Not only does Portugal have that steep monthly income barrier, but you are also forced to lock up over 11,000 euros in a local Portuguese bank account as a mandatory savings deposit. Meanwhile, Spain's digital nomad visa requires just 200% of their minimum wage. That puts their monthly threshold noticeably lower at 2,849 euros. And crucially, Spain doesn't demand a massive localized savings deposit for a standard approval.
But hold on a second. Spain isn't just handing these visas out freely. While they require less cash up front, they enforce much stricter corporate rules. The company you work for must have been operating for at least a year. Plus, if you're an independent freelancer working with Spanish clients, your revenue from those domestic clients cannot exceed 20% of your total professional income. It's a highly regulated corporate check.
Section 3. The family math, scaling costs for spouses and children.
Those solo requirements we just talked about, that's really just the beginning. The financial landscape changes drastically the moment you decide to bring your family along. Spain scales its family costs based on percentages of their minimum wage base, keeping the increments remarkably low. Adding a spouse only pushes you to just under 4,000 euros. But Portugal, it scales aggressively. Adding a spouse means you have to demonstrate over 5,500 euros a month, and with a child, you are easily clearing the 6,500 euro mark.
And if you are bringing your family to Portugal, be aware of the different visa streams. Portugal has a temporary stay visa, often called the D8 Lite, which offers great flexibility for up to a year. But here is the catch. It strictly prohibits family reunification. No exceptions. If the kids are coming, you are completely locked out of the Lite option, and you have to navigate the much stricter residency pathway, which comes complete with registered one-year leases and heavy local savings.
Section 4. Taxes, progressive versus flat, the ultimate long-term differentiator.
Okay, this is arguably the most critical decision point of this entire explainer, because the 2026 tax divide is absolutely massive. Portugal's famous NHR tax regime, the exact one that made it a digital nomad haven in the first place, is officially dead. Move there now and you face standard progressive taxes scaling all the way up to 48%, plus a 28% hit on your global investments. Spain, however, offers the lucrative Beckham law for displaced workers. That's a flat 24% tax rate on up to 600,000 euros of income, and an incredible 0% tax on foreign passive income like dividends and capital gains. Sounds like a total slam dunk for Spain, right? Well, let's bust the myth that the Beckham law is a magic bullet. It has incredibly strict limitations. You must apply within exactly 6 months of registering with Spanish Social Security. Crucially, it's heavily geared toward corporate remote employees. If you're a standalone, self-employed freelancer, you are generally excluded from this flat rate unless you do highly specialized research and development. Plus, under the Beckham law, you get absolutely zero personal tax-free allowances or child deductions. It is a flat tax from the very first euro you earn.
So what about Portugal? They did introduce a replacement tax scheme called IFICAI, or NHR 2.0, but you have to look at the fine print. It's a hyper-targeted framework restricted exclusively to high-level researchers, specific tech workers, and employees of certified startups. The vast majority of standard digital nomads and freelancers simply won't qualify for this, and they'll be stuck paying those heavy progressive rates.
Section 5. The long game, citizenship, timelines, passports, and double-edged swords.
Let's zoom out to the 5- and 10-year horizons. Here is Spain's consistent 10-year track. You get your initial visa,
And by year 5, you can achieve permanent residency. But getting that PR requires you to essentially become a homebody. You can't have a single absence longer than 6 months and no more than 10 months of total absence over the whole 5 years. Hit year 10 and you're finally eligible for citizenship.
But here is the massive trade-off for Spain. I like to call it the Spanish catch. Getting that Spanish passport means you must legally surrender your home country citizenship. Unless you're from a specific Ibero-American country, Americans, Brits, and Canadians have to fully renounce their original passports to naturalize in Spain.
Now, Portugal has historically been the favorite here because they allow dual citizenship. However, a highly controversial rule change for 2026 means the 10-year citizenship clock strictly starts only when your physical residence card is issued. And thanks to immense bureaucratic backlogs at the immigration office, it can literally take 2 to 3 years just to get that card, meaning your actual wait time to citizenship in Portugal is effectively closer to 12 or 13 long years from the day you apply.
Section 6. The final verdict. Synthesizing the 2026 Iberian data.
We have covered a ton of complex numbers, taxes, and timelines today. So the question you really need to actively reflect on right now is this. Which Iberian anchor actually suits your specific situation? What is your primary goal? Are you hunting for immediate monthly tax savings, or are you playing the long game for a European second passport?
Let's break it down into a simple decision matrix. Choose Portugal if you are a self-employed, autonomous freelancer, because Spain's flat tax won't help you anyway. Choose Portugal if securing dual citizenship is an absolute non-negotiable for you, and you have the patience to stomach a 12-plus year wait while paying progressive taxes. On the flip side, choose Spain if you are a high-earning corporate remote employee who can take full advantage of that 24% flat tax. Choose Spain if you are moving with a family, because their income thresholds scale so much more reasonably. And definitely choose Spain if your main priority is immediate, predictable tax optimization.
I want to leave you with a final provocative thought that perfectly encapsulates the 2026 trade-off. Is the short-term, flat-rate tax optimization in Spain worth eventually sacrificing your home country's passport? Or is the prize of Portugal's dual citizenship worth a decade-long wait while paying incredibly heavy progressive taxes? It is a massive decision, and I hope this explainer has given you the exact data you need to dive deeper into your own relocation research. Thanks so much for learning with me today.